Hello and welcome to my show, TikTok, where we talk about what makes people tick. We'll find out how the most successful people pursue their passions, follow their dreams, achieve their goals, follow their dreams and achieve their goals. Today's guest is very special to me. He's a world-renowned, award-winning bag designer whose creations have been featured in all the top international fashion publications and have been spotted on the most famous celebrities in the world. But the real reason he's special to me is that he was one of my very first friends in the local fashion industry, who became my Svengali / mentor after he took me home one night when we were both just 21 years old. We'll have all the juicy details in a bit for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to introduce Rafe Totengco. Hi, Rafe.
Hi, Myrza.
Live from New York. First of all, thanks so much for waking up in such an ungodly hour. It's 6:30 a.m. over there.
I actually wake up early every day.
Oh, really?
But yeah, this is unusually early.
That's how I know you love me.
Exactly. Can't say no to you.
How's life and love in lockdown? How many days later? Is it 60 days?
Oh my God, I stopped, at some point, they call it Blur's Day, you just stop counting.
Right.
We left the city March 9, and we took my mom with us, and I was like, Mom, we're gonna be here maybe for like, I don't know, 2 weeks or something, right?
Right.
I had no idea it was gonna be this long. Um, but yeah, it's been good. I mean, I have to say, my house is about 2.5 hours outside the city. It's in East Marion in Long Island in the North Fork. And what's nice is like, my house overlooks a lake and we're close to the beach. So we could be, walking down to the beach with not a lot of people at all, sometimes nobody. And, we kind of do our walks almost every day. And it's been great for her because I think the fact that, she is 81. She would have been compromised in Brooklyn in an apartment building with elevators jam-packed with people. Here it's just me, Mike, and just the three of us. So it's really been blessing to have her here and not be in danger.
You couldn't be locked down in a more paradise-like place. And I hear you've been picking clamshells at
Yes,
the
no.
beach.
So every morning we go down to the beach and we look for like the white clamshells, and it's been kind of like our little thing. Like we'll go there and look for the whitest one if we can find it. If not, we'll find the ones that aren't cracked, and we have quite a mouthful. I don't know what to do with them. Maybe I'll make them into a sculpture or something. But we've collected quite a few over, you can imagine, every day, right?
I was just going to ask, what are they for?
I'm not
For the
sure.
Minody.
Yeah, no, every time we collect them, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I will do something to sort of commemorate this time.
And you've been painting and drawing still life?
Yes, no,
right?
it's been also kind of, God, I would say the first 2-3 weeks was just like I had no gana to do
Yeah, I
anything,
understand.
right? I
Right.
had absolutely no motivation, no inspiration, nothing. And I was like, well, I had to do something, right?
Right.
And so I started just sketching things from around the house, from like flowers and whatever. And in the beginning, I was, not, I don't know, it was out of my comfort zone because, for like 25 years, all I've done was like sketch accessories. All of a
Exactly.
sudden, I'm drawing landscape, like flowers. It was like a little odd for me, but it was nice. It was, I
Right.
got some positive feedback from doing it. I don't know what I'm going to do with these, sketches, and they're all on my iPad, which has been great. So I've actually bought real watercolor now so that I can actually, do it for real. I mean, not that the iPad isn't real, but, it's a different kind of technique.
So you still haven't been able to design a bag? Not that you
No.
should,
Yeah, no, it's been kind of, well, funnily enough, right before the lockdown, I had already designed spring summer 21. So I think as soon as the factories open up again, I'll resume some of those samples and see what happens. It's so weird because I look at those sketches now that I did back in January, and I'm like, oh God, are they even still relevant? Who wants them?
Right.
You know what
See,
I mean? Like, but I'm hoping that at some point when all this is over, that people will still be, socializing and going out and wanting something cute. And, it's interesting. I've still been selling on my site and on Neiman Marcus, and they've actually been selling bags online. So I'm like, God bless her. Whoever she is out there, she's
right.
still She's still buying. So,
There are a lot of jokes about people online shopping to death.
yes, no, and it's kind of amazing. I'm like, oh my God, where are you taking that clutch? Where are you going? Where are you going with that? But I guess, at some point when everything eases off, people will want to socialize again. I mean,
I hope
how
so
can you
too.
not, right? I mean, I want to. I miss my friends. I miss having a drink with them, seeing each other. I miss, God, I never thought I'd say this, but it's like just a simple hug.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like now it's like you look at someone, you're like, can I not? Like, it's like such a no. It's weird.
Yeah. And speaking of the factories, any news about your factories here, or the women who make your bags?
I don't know when they're going to open. I mean, I think from what last I heard, I think it's like end of May that they're going to start to open. So I hope so. I mean, everyone's been impacted, right? I mean, especially the workers, because a lot of them work by piecemeal. Some of them don't even have like insurance. So I think the fact that all of a sudden everything stopped. I mean, I didn't even produce fall winter because whatever orders I got just got canceled. So it's like, wow, like everything just stopped. It's like I'm going to miss a season.
Hopefully they've pivoted into making masks and
I hope so.
PPEs
I don't know.
and
Yeah.
whatnot. Right.
Yeah. I hope
all right. So as promised, let's take them through our own love story. I saw you post that you remembered a day in 1988, which kind of outed our kind of dated us, but never mind. Let's tell them.
That's okay. I'm owning it. I'm fine with it. I hope you are.
And this story has something to do with dandruff shampoo. I think you can tell the story better.
Okay. Well, it was like, I would say it was about a year before I left for the States.
Yes.
And at that time, I was like doing everything I could to save money and to make money. And at the time, I think it was McCann Erickson had asked me if I would do costumes for commercials. And I was like, sure. They said, you have to make multiples of the same thing. I'm like, oh, even better. And they're like, and would you style it? I'm like, of course, sure. So it was one of the, commercials that I did. And I remember walking in and it was Ruben Nazareth who was doing makeup, right?
Right.
And we were like, who's the model? Who's the model? And then it was you and somebody else, right?
Yes.
It was like two of you, right?
Nikki Montenegro and Star Carabin.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I remember.
Yeah. I don't remember them, but I was like, who is she? Look at her. And we started talking to you, I remember. And then you were saying, oh, you're going to UP and all that. And I was like, oh my God, brains and beauty. And then Ruben was like, can she walk? I was like, oh, I don't know if she can walk. And then I think we asked you to walk like at the commercial set.
Yes,
and when you did your walk, I was like,
Project!
I was like, oh, Project Runway. She needs a little help.
A lot of help.
Yes. So, of course, I was just like, oh, you want to come home with me? Not for that reason. I'm going to take you home, not for that reason.
Right.
Yeah, and it was like one of those, it was just like, I don't know. And you were eager about it. You were fine. You were trusting. And yeah, it was just.
And thus began my crash course in runway walking. The beginning of a lifetime friendship.
Right? Yeah, no,
right.
that was fun. That was fun.
Well, let's take them back even further to your early beginnings in Bacolod, where as a young boy, you often say in interviews that your fashion design career all began when your mother handed you a bunch of fabric when you were a little boy and said, take these to the neighborhood tailor and have things made?
Yeah. Well, it happened because when we used to go to church, of course, you wore your Sunday's best. And every morning on Sunday before church, I would be on my chalkboard drawing, and I would be filthy, covered in chalk. And my sisters would always be like, "Oh my God, he looks like the gardener's kid. Look at him. It's like covered in like chalk, his hands, like he doesn't even like bother to look like, I was just like messy." And meanwhile, my sisters wore, their Sunday's best dresses or whatever. So one day, my mom came back from Divisoria in Manila with a box of like coordinated fabrics, but she didn't know what to do with them. So she was like, "Just go to the tailor, have them made." But of course I was like, "What do you mean have them made? Just like have pants, shirts, whatever. Let's like, just have a bunch of clothes made." So I went to the tailor and the tailor was like, "What do you want?" And I was like, I'm going to be back in a week. So I took all the fabrics back with me and I bought a magazine, Manila Women's Wear.
Oh, wow. Time. Wait, how old were you?
God, I remember I was 5th grade. So
okay.
I don't know what that was. Like
maybe 10 or 11.
Yeah. And I bought the magazine and I remember illustrations by Danilo Franco.
Of course.
And I remember looking at those sketches and I was like, before that I was drawing sharks and Indians and horses and I'd never drawn people before. So I actually took like onion skin paper and like sort of, traced over them. And then, and all of a sudden I was like, oh, what if I change this pocket to that? I was like, kind of putting things together. Went back to the tailor and then a week later, I had like a whole new wardrobe. And I was like, oh my God, wait a minute. Like I just drew these and here they are. And that kind of sparked a whole...
instant gratification.
Yes. I was like, oh my God, wait, what else can I change? What else can I do? And it felt amazing. Like I got dressed up for Sunday that time. And I really felt like, oh, this, I don't know, it just changed me. It was good.
Your childhood was very conducive to creativity and your artistic expression. Can you tell us about the unique kind of mom you had who embraced you and your art and your personality 100%?
Well, I must say I'm really, really lucky because early on, she knew that I was, artistic, creative. She took me to classes in Manila to learn how to paint. She just was very encouraging and supportive. And so when I started doing, clothing and designing, she was all for it. She never thought once that it was like odd. She was just like, well, that's what you want to do. Why not? Right. It's interesting because her sisters were not as excited about the idea of me being a fashion designer because they had misconceptions as to what that was. But on my end, my mom was like totally super cool with it. And then in high school we had every Wednesdays I think we had Civilian Day. So Civilian Day meant you could wear whatever you wanted, and let me tell you, that was my excuse for a fashion show. I mean, it was like 1983, 82, 84. And so it was like, new wave. Oh my God. Like the clothes, the outfits I used to come. I would walk into school with like shoulder pads. Oh God. And amazingly, it is just in, Bacolod,
and it was an all-boys school, right? LaSalle.
It was an all-boys school. And amazingly, I never got beat up. My classmates were like, just, some boys would tease me, but my classmates, my batchmates would always come to my defense. And again, it was all like, I was very lucky. I mean, my classmates, a lot of my friends who are still my friends in school to this day have never once made me feel like I was doing something wrong. I was doing something odd. They were just kind of like very accepting as like, well, that's Rafi.
Right. You never got in trouble in school. I remember, I think you altered your uniform's collar and made it like a Peter Pan collar, and then...
No. I added pleats to my
pleats.
Let me tell you, because back then it was plain front, right? And I was like, right. Oh, let me add Yeah, and I added epaulets on my shirt. And of course, like, the brother, the principal was like, that doesn't look like the uniform. I was like, oh, I think the uniform maker made a mistake. Blamed it on the uniform maker. And at one point in high school, the principal had asked to call he called my mom in because he wanted to have, conversation with her about my outfits. Because he was like, the outfits your son is wearing is a little kind of like provocative. I mean, I was wearing Fiorucci's 2 sizes too small, shoulder pads up to here.
And
I
why
mean,
not?
rubber bracelets, and my mom told him, I was like, listen, she said, as long as I'm paying for his education, I'm paying for his like clothing and allowance, you really have no say unless you want to stop this whole like when's civilian clothing day. If you want to pay for his clothing, then you can tell him what to wear, which
Right.
is
And
amazing. Yes, it was amazing.
that's the
I
kind
was
of
like,
mom every artist should
oh my
have.
God, yeah. No, let me tell you, like the next Wednesday, I came back with an even more outrageous outfit. It was like Claude Montana with like football shoulders.
Oh my gosh.
It was so bad.
And
It was
baggy
good.
pants.
Oh yes, yes. And scrunchy suede slouchy boots. It was so bad.
And then it didn't help that your two older sisters were fashion models in Manila. And so fast forward to college, you were in Manila.
Well,
What did
actually, it
happen?
started in high school because
Oh, okay.
Tessa at the time was doing luncheon shows in the summer in Manila.
Oh,
They had those luncheon shows at the
yes.
Hyatt,
The Hyatt
Pilates, and all
and
those
the
places,
Hilton.
right?
Right.
Yes. And my mom wanted to make sure that I was busy in the summer, so I became her chaperone. And it was amazing. It was amazing for me to see like my sister, who was a college student, like go to these hotels, go in the backstage, get all dolled up, like with all the other girls. And she would come out on the runway, and it was like, this whole transformation of Cinderella, essentially, right? And I love that transformative quality of fashion. And of course, the clothes were like out of this world, which was great. And then even better, at one point, my sister was like, well, you can't just be with me every day. Like, I've got to like let you do something else. So she introduced me and got me an internship with Danny Franco, which was
Oh.
incredible. So every evening, it was her way to get rid of me because she went on dates, and she would bring me over to like National Enquirer or Philippine, I forget which newspaper it was, but every night I would be there because Danny worked in the evenings, and he would teach me how to draw. It was incredible time. I enjoyed every minute of it.
Right. And then when did you decide to become a designer? You were only 18 when you launched Schizo, your own label. How does it even happen?
I was going to UST in Manila, and I had taken up advertising. And after my first year, all my professors, well, not all, but a few of them, was like, we're going to talk to you. I don't think you're in the right course. I said, why? They said, every project you do, like, it's like, has a girl wearing a dress or a shoe or whatever. Like everything revolved around like someone wearing an outfit, right? And they were like, not everything revolves around fashion. And I was like, you're wrong. They're like, the whole world doesn't revolve around fashion. And I'm like, you're wrong. So I left UST, found a seamstress, and ended up hiring the seamstress to work on our kitchen table at that time. And the first outfit she made for me, I wore out to Stargazer.
Of course.
And then my friends were like, oh my God, how fabulous is your outfit? Who made it? I was like, I did. They're like, oh, can you make one for us? And that's kind
Ah,
of how it started. It was literally like just like by word of mouth.
right.
Yeah, and then before you knew it, like then Budoy, Benjamin Sanchez was our neighbor. He was 2 apartments down. was like, oh, let's get into business together. This is going to be fun. And we were like,
Right.
okay. And
Budoy was a banker already by then, right?
yes,
So
yes,
he
yeah,
was
simply
like
back. Yeah.
your business
And
manager.
yeah, and true enough, we had a great time doing it. It was like, we didn't know what we were doing, but we kind of figured it out. And by the time I left Manila, we had about, I don't know, like 20 workers working for us. It was fun.
Right. So in 1989, you moved to New York.
Yes, I did. Yeah, yeah. I
And
actually thought I would move to New York first just to go to school because, I really wanted to learn more about fashion, about pattern making, draping, all of that stuff, right? I wanted to learn all of that. And so I thought I would only be gone for a summer. But of course, my first night in New York, I was like, this is amazing. This is it. There's something about this city that it's not for everybody, right? It's either you hate it or you love it. For me, it was like first night I'm in. I love it.
but it wasn't all fun and games and sketching, right? Can you talk
Oh
about
my God. No.
what
New
you had
York,
to go through?
New York, actually, I have to say, for as busy and as energetic and exciting as it is, it can also be a very lonely city. Like, I mean, my first year, I had to make new friends, right? Because I didn't know anybody. Initially, I made friends with my sister's friends, but I needed my own friends. And, in a city that's everyone's so busy, it was, a challenge to make those connections. Um, and, but I have to say, like, the people I met at that time are still my friends to this day. So that's been wonderful. But yeah, it wasn't easy in the beginning. And I would only take evening classes. So I would work during the day, go to class like 4 nights a week from 6 to 10 at night, take the subway in the evenings. And yeah, and I lived far from FIT. So it was, I had to cross town, uptown, and it was, yeah, not easy. But
And yeah, one of the jobs that you had to take was selling clothes at a store called Parachute, if I'm not
yes,
mistaken.
yes, yes,
And
yes,
then
that
what
was my,
happened? What happened one day in Parachute?
actually, one of my customers
From
had
Manila.
come in from Manila, had come in, um, and she thought that I was shopping. So I started bringing clothes to her, dressing room, and she was like, "Oh my God, this is so much fun! This is just like the old days." She goes, "Let's have coffee afterwards or something." I said, "Oh, I can't. I'm working." And she was like, "What do you mean you're working?" I said, "I work here." And she like kind of fell apart. And she was, because she's like, the concept is like, if
Right.
you're a salesperson, it's like not a very, good job or whatever. That's the connotation. And she was like, "You left Manila to come here to be a salesperson?"
What did you say?
I was like, "Well, the story doesn't end here. Like, this is just the beginning. I just got here. It's my first job. And I don't need to apologize for it either because I'm enjoying it. I love doing it. But, it's a job, right? I'm going to school at night. Like, it doesn't end here." Of course, I
Right.
didn't know how it would end, but I was like, it doesn't end here. I was like,
It definitely didn't end there because 6 years later, it's time for you to tell the tale of how the Rafi New York bag brand was born.
oh God. Oh, well, it was funny because I was assisting a stylist for a photo shoot. And at that time, as an assistant, I had to source everything. And she was looking for skinny belts. Couldn't find them at all. And every showroom we looked at, couldn't find them. So I said to her, I said, "Oh, I can have them made." She's like, "Okay." So, 'cause I knew a factory. The factory made them for me. At the end of the photo shoot, she was like, "Well, you can return these." I said, "No, I had them made. I have to get reimbursed." She goes, "So the magazine doesn't have a budget for reimbursing, like clothing. Like, that's not what magazines do. Like, everything's borrowed and returned. Just like, we can credit you for for the belt." I was like, at that time, I didn't know what I was doing. So I said, "Okay, well, I have to get rid of the belts." So I went to a store in Soho, and I walked in and it said to the buyer, "Can you, you know, you may want to buy these from me because they're going to be the next thing." And she kind of looked at me and she's like, "Oh, you're kind of funny and cute. Sure. How much are they? Blah, blah, blah." And she bought all my belts for me. I was like, "Oh, good." So I recouped my money. I was good, happy, done. Next. And then I get a call like a week later. She's like, "Do you have more belts?" I sold out.
Ooh.
And are you making bags too? I was like, "Yeah, they're just late." Of course, I had no factory, no
That's the
design, nothing.
spirit.
I was just like, "Yeah, they're late." And I remember closing down like hanging up. And then I looked at my roommate and we were like, she was like, what did you do? I'm like, "Oh, I think I just got myself into trouble." And there you go.
And then 30 years later, here
Still
you
at it.
are, still at it.
Still hustling.
30 years later, all these celebrities wearing your designs and all the magazines and all the press and the awards. When you look back, are you still in disbelief, or just do you just feel tired?
Well, there are those days, but I would say for the most part, I kind of when those things happen, I enjoy it when it's happening, and then I kind of move on. Right? It's like I don't necessarily like relive those laurels. I don't rest on them, so to speak. Because always, what I love about fashion is there's always the next season, so you're always moving forward. You're always thinking about what to do next instead of what you did. It's like, what did I do? What's there to do? What's left to do? So that's what keeps me going.
But for the benefit of the viewers, let us relive the laurels. If you
Okay.
could
Okay.
name like the top 3 milestones or more of
Uh,
your career, what would they be?
so I would say one of the first ones. The first would be my collaboration with Target.
Oh, yeah.
It was 2005. They were just doing Go International. They hadn't really done anything with accessories. So I was the first accessories only collaboration with Target. And it was hugely successful. I had no idea. And, at that time, of course, there was no social media. It was like traditional
Yeah,
advertising.
right.
And sometimes when I think about it, parang, wow, sayang. You think about it, like, had that happened now, wow, can you
Yeah.
imagine? I could have really milked it. At that time, we just did like an advert at like Vogue, Bazaar, Elle, and New York Times. So that
Yeah,
was
it's
it.
just Vogue Bazaar L.
No, but it's like, you know what I mean? If you think about
Right,
it,
right.
like there could have been so much more.
Right.
I did 2 seasons with them. And, at that time, it was so new that a lot of stores were upset that I did it. Like Neiman Marcus dropped me,
Oh,
Burgos
wow.
dropped me. Yeah, they were like really upset that I did it because they're like, how could you go that low? And of course, 2 years later, like Neiman's was doing like a collaboration with like Target. But at that time, the new concept was so new, nobody knew what to make of it. And it was great. It was interesting for me to see that like I always thought that what I designed was so kind of specific to a customer. And here it was like national institution, an American institution, could think that my designs could be for everybody. To me, that was interesting. But yeah, I had mixed feelings about it because the bags were like $50.
Yeah. So you had
So
to
of
get
course,
creative on a budget for a mass market, on a mass
exactly. I mean,
market scale.
yeah, I mean, they produced it for me. All I did was design, but it's interesting for me to kind of go through that exercise. So that was amazing. I would say the second would be, interestingly enough, when I was recognized by the Philippines for
Yes.
the TOYM.
Yes.
And that was, again, the first time they had recognized a fashion person, fashion designer. I think it never happened before. And to me, that was, again, uh, I dedicated that award to my mom, because when I was growing up, a lot of her siblings kind of gave her a hard time about allowing me to be me, right? Essentially. So the fact that I got that recognition from the country and was given the award by their president was a big deal. It was really like a homecoming, in a sense that here's what happens to to someone you thought would not amount to anything, and here I am, like, receiving an award from the president. That was unforgettable. And I would say the third would be coming back to do bench.
Oh,
That was really, to me, super, super special. The fact that we did it twice. Again, um, internet is unstable. It
it's
says.
okay. The audio is okay, so just keep
Okay,
talking.
right. Yeah, no, I mean, doing that collaboration with Bench to me was like a really sweet homecoming. Be able to do it again, sort of relive my days doing clothing in Manila, seeing everybody, seeing the friends, doing the show, uh, doing it with new people, and it was like a really amazing homecoming. So that was, it's funny how, like, a lot of the things that I'm really sort of proud about are the things that bring me back to the Philippines.
Right. I love how 2 out of 3 are about homecoming.
Yeah, no,
About
really, yeah.
Philippines.
Well, it's like I had to leave to be recognized.
Right.
You know,
Story of everyone's life. But
right? Yeah.
there's no success without setbacks. Can you name some of those that you bounced back from? And what's the secret really to your resilience?
Well, let's not forget September 11. That was crazy. The financial crash of 2008. I
Right.
mean, there's so many things that it's like I almost lost everything. Um, and it's just, there's days when you're like, how do you move on from here? I mean, the recession of '08 was, I mean, I let go of like 95% of my staff, like in one day. And it was the hardest thing I've ever done. And I really thought that I couldn't be able to recover from that. Um, but then I got a call from Nine West and they needed somebody to help them. So that helped me. That was a huge, huge help for me to be able to go forward and to regain my confidence back. And, because I really thought after '08 that I was done. I really thought that I couldn't, like, okay, that's it. I'm done. Like, it's over. Um, so being able to do that with a big behemoth like Nine West was very encouraging. Gave me back my confidence to be able to direct several teams of designers overseeing different brands. So that was really good. And then again, now with COVID-19, I mean, like,
Yes.
I mean, I only say that it's like misery loves company. And let me tell you, we're all in it together.
Yes.
So I don't feel singled out. I don't know exactly what happens after this, what the new normal is and how do we go forward. And, people are asking, are you going to do things differently? I'm like, I'm already small. I'm already nimble. I don't produce a lot of things. So what will I do differently? Maybe I'll design different bags, but at the end of the day, like, maybe I design less of them. I'm not sure. What happens, really. I don't have the answer.
Well, you already started pivoting when you shifted from the usual handbags to clutches and minaudières. You want to
Yes.
care
Well,
to tell us about it?
Yeah, well, at one point I realized that there was only so much that you could, like, I couldn't compete with a lot of the big brands doing leather bags. So I thought, you know what, if I specialize and just like find my niche with like clutches and novelties, like, evening bags and straw bags and things that I can produce well, not be tied down with like so much production, not have to have too much minimums, and something that I can sustain myself. So that's what I've been doing for the past, 7 years now. And it's really sustained me. It's been great, actually. I have to say I have a nice following for people who have collected my minaudières and clutches. And it's a nice small business that I can, do by myself.
And what do you attribute, like, bouncing back and continuing to be resilient? And I'm sure because of your previous experience, I'm sure everybody is having a hard time thinking of how they're going to bounce back, right? But probably when you look back and think, well, I was able to get through all those struggles, maybe it won't be, you know, that hard to get through this one. What is the secret to resilience, really?
I think just like sheer determination. I mean, just kind of like never giving up. Like I, I can't help it, right? I can't like it's not something that I like. I just won't give up until it's like until I can't, until I really can't, until nobody really wants anything from me and they're not buying a thing, and then maybe then I'll have to pivot to something completely different. But you know, there are days when it's like, oh my God, it's like done, and then I get an order, and I'm like, oh, okay, all right. So you know, it's like little bit at a time. It's I just not ready to give up yet. For some people, it's half empty. For me, it's half full, right? I always think of like, what else could I be doing? Maybe there's something I could do better or something. There's always something else. And that's what keeps me going. And the idea of even retiring is so foreign to me because it's like, I love what I do. It's not work, right? I'm always working. So and it's not work for me. It's like, I really enjoy what I do. So it's a weird thing. It's like people always say, like, you're always working. I'm like, but I love it.
You are the hardest working person I know, such that twice. First, you missed my wedding in Tuscany, even if he was just in Milan.
Right. I
And
know,
then 10
crazy.
years later, I said, I can't believe it.
I
10 years
know.
later, he had a show in Paris. Of course, I understood because I'm a good friend, but you are the hardest working person I know. And how does it feel now to be not working? This is the
I,
longest amount of time you have not worked.
I, I have to say, I've really, it's been nice. I have to say, in the beginning, it was like, oh my God, what am I? There were days when I was just like, had no motivation to get up. But it's been, you know, I've sort of come to accept that it's like, this is what we're going through. Um, I am fortunate to be where I am because I could be in a small apartment, trapped in the city, but instead I'm out here near the country, you know, near nature with my mom. We're all safe. We're all in good health. Um, things could be worse, right? So I've accepted that this has been, you know, a blessing, actually. So yeah, and I think when it's all over, I'm actually going to be a little sad, bizarrely enough, because it's been such a nice, it's been
Right,
such a, you know, it's been great actually to be here. So I really can't complain. But at the same time, it's, you know, time to get back to reality,
right,
a new reality.
right. So for those who want to follow in your footsteps, or whether in fashion or some other industry, if you could distill your secrets to success in like key traits, besides of course resilience, hard work, and the unique kind of talent that you have, what
Well, I
else
think,
would you throw in there?
well, there is no formula, right? There really, I mean, you know, when people ask, when you say there's secret, there really is no secret. It's really, I think, all in your attitude. I mean, there are some people who are very can do, and there are some people who are cannot. I belong to the first group where it's like, if there's nothing I can't do, I can always do, right? And and I think I got that from my mom, who was always like, you know, she was an entrepreneur, always ready to do the next thing, ready to do it, open to do it. So I think if you just keep yourself open to possibilities, never saying no, and kind of saying why not instead of no,
Right.
you know, you could open yourself up to different things. I mean, I didn't start out designing handbags. I always thought I would be designing fashion forever. And then handbags sort of like fell organically, and I sort of embraced it and I ran with it. And, you know, here I am like 30 years later, still doing it, still loving it. Not exactly what I thought I'd be doing, but here I am. So I think you kind of have to just like let life happen, but you just have to be open to, you know, how the twists and turns, because you can plan everything and nothing ever happens as planned. So you have to be, flexible as well.
Right. What do you think? Have you given it some thought as to what the new normal will be in retail? I watched your IG live discussion, and you were kind of thinking about how retail behavior is about to change. Aren't you glad you've been doing online for a while now?
Yes, no, exactly. Yeah, no. But I think I'm hoping that we go back into a more realistic cycle of like buying clothes within the season. I really look forward to that, instead of like looking at like, spring, summer, and January.
Yes.
I think this whole cycle has really sort of like messed up everybody, so that by the time it's actually, when you're thinking about spring, summer, everything's on sale. So then this cycle of like everything's always on sale has really sort of, I think, disrupted the natural flow of things. So I would really like, I know a lot of designers are petitioning for things to go back to a different schedule. I hope we go back to that schedule, because that's really like, in June, when you start thinking about spring, like that's when you should be looking at spring, instead of in June or July, you're looking at fall already. It's like, really? And in the height of summer in August, you're looking at wool and like
Right.
fur and what, like all these heavy winter clothes. And you're just like, there's something wrong with this. For the longest time, I was just like, why? Why do we have to go so forward? And nobody needs all of this anyway. So it's like, if we can kind of dial it down and go back to a different, more realistic, slower pace, I think it would benefit everybody. So, I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
And the impact on the health of the world also
No, completely.
will be
Completely.
much better, right?
Yeah. And instead of doing like, 4 seasons, just do 2. Spring, summer together, fall, winter together. No more resort. I mean, really, like, God, like this cycle of like, every 3 months, something new, You're like, nobody needs that much stuff.
True.
I mean, clearly we've realized, like,
Yeah,
after all this
everybody's
lockdown, right? I mean,
right.
like, I haven't worn anything new in like, since March. I've been wearing the same stuff because I left them all in the city.
Right.
And guess what? I'm okay.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I really hope that the powers that be listen to this collective call to action of like changing the system. And it's not just fashion; it's everything, right? So
Right.
I'm optimistic.
You have a upcoming collab with Erin Lauder.
Oh, it's interesting. That, I don't know if I'd call it a collab, but
Or
she started buying my things for her store, and she wanted some exclusive things, and I was like, of course. So I'm doing a few exclusive styles just for her boutiques. So yeah, so I guess it's a collab, but it's a more low key collab where I'm just doing it just for her, nobody else. She has such an incredible following. She's been so gracious. They've been really great with me, and actually, ever since I started buying me, like they've been like one of my best customers because they pay on time and they constantly reorder. It's like they've been amazing, actually. So I'm really happy to be part of their product mix.
it's so amazing. What else are you looking
Yes.
forward to, whether in fashion or just the
I'm
world post lockdown?
I want to travel again. I miss traveling.
Yes.
I miss traveling. We were supposed to go to Morocco in this past April with the whole family. And my sister Tessa had like planned this incredible itinerary. And God, so I hope we can do that trip one day soon.
Right. Meanwhile, it's baking at home with Michael.
Oh my God, thank God. Oh my
He
God, he can
bakes
do
the best
anything.
things.
Yes, he does. Yes. 2 inches later.
I'm sure there's nobody you'd rather have been locked down with than
Oh yeah,
a
no,
master baker,
oh yeah,
gardener.
yes. Oh my God, like literally a Renaissance man. He can do anything.
Right. We were actually supposed to go there in
I
June
know,
for my
right?
birthday, and you were inviting me over to your house, but
That would have been like next week.
right. Exactly.
Well, you'll make it here one day, and you'll
Oh,
see. Yeah, well, you'll see. You'll understand. You'll get why we love it so much.
yes. And hopefully people got why I love you so much, and why Rafi is really an amazing, incredible talent, friend, and all around great human being. Thank
Thank you,
you.
Mama.
Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
waking up so early for this interview.
Love you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.